Welcome to Deep Thought. Being optimistic in a sea of despair. I was about to be tongue tied there, yo. Being optimistic in a sea of despair. I'm gonna tell you what, it's tough. You know what? I never forget. There was a commenter on my main channel. He was like, "Rom, you always seem so optimistic and everything." And yes, I do. People have known that about me. I don't care what's happening. I'm figuring out a way out. That's just me. I don't care. It could be a storm out, everything going, and I'm just like, no, I see that opening. I see the red light. I see the silver lining. and and really, that honestly, personally, that I developed that just with a jacked up childhood. I had to keep hope. I had to keep hope and everything. But I'm gonna tell you what, and I've met other people like that, but it's tough. It is tough, and anybody who can relate to this, you'll probably nod in your head, probably comment, because it is tough. Because I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago. I was talking with someone, and they were telling me about all the trouble around them. Like they were just like, this is a normally optimistic person, but they were just catching not even their own problems, but they are one of those people who people lean on to help solve their problems, you know? And I mean, he was just like, man, so much is happening. And then let's just be real, a lot of people got just some they in despair, and it could be for myriad reasons: their relationships, their jobs, living situations, everything. I mean, like I said, like people know me for talking about relationships. We know there's a whole lot of men who feel like they won't meet a good woman or one who will find them attractive. I mean, you got women who feel they won't find that good man. You have people, definitely financial issues. There's some people out here suffering. And then just the overall global environment, especially in the midst of war, even though technically there's always a war going on. We just getting this one in the news. And you know what? I'm going to tell you what, it's tough. It is tough for people. Fortunately, it sounded like I was about to say unfortunately. And actually I was going to say this in a different way, but I'm going to say this in a way of hope. We have men and women out there who stay optimistic. Men and women who, no matter what's going on, they keep pushing. People who see a light at the end of the tunnel. People who are willing to provide leadership. People saying, you know what, all this is going on. No, I'm going to fight this. Understand, and I've talked before about the battle being within, but you can have battles outside of yourself, and it doesn't mean it's an act of violence or you're fighting in that way. It simply means that, you know what, you're going against this idea. You're going against this sea of despair. You're going to paddle through it. It's a stormy sea, but you know what? You're going to ride your boat through it. You know what? There was a classic film came out in '94, Forrest Gump, and there was a scene in there with Forrest and Captain Dan. They were on a shrimp boat. Oh, excuse me, I gotta say it the way we said in the neighborhoods of DC. Scrimp boat, right? Yeah, they were on this shrimp boat, and there was a terrible storm, but they were riding it out. And then at the end of the day, they were only one to survive. And because they had a pretty much monopoly on everything, they were able to grow a business. But they were just being optimistic. And that's how it is, though. You fighting through it and everything, but we need the optimistic people. We need the people saying, hold up, we ain't gonna let this go, because that's where the movements for change start. That's where the movements for change start. The movements don't start. I'm going to tell you something about movements. They don't start with some celebrity saying, hey, let's do this. They don't. Movements usually start by some nondescript person, some ordinary person. They not a supermodel of the world, you know. They're not maybe the most educated. They are not anything. They just had something within them that said there needs to be a change. And they might start off small. They might start off small. They might just, I don't know, it could be cleaning up certain areas. It could be feeding the homeless. It could be something. And they'll start off small. But then it'll pick up and more people will join, more people get involved. And then at some point, there might be some major figure that adopts the movement and everybody's in there. Like for movements in general, they go through three things anyway, really. You know, ridicule, because people will say, "Oh, that ain't gonna change anything. What you doing? Oh, shoot, you chasing that windmills." Or I forgot what that exact saying was. But then discussion, they're like, maybe they doing something. And then adoption, you know. Have y'all noticed that with some movements? Think about some movements in history. I would say that everybody's talking about it, but I remember when some of the same people were ridiculing it and everything. And I could actually tell you about movements. Yeah, Rom has a lot more talent than he lets on. But that's the thing, though. We need the people who are going to keep the faith. Or I'm going to tell you what, as bad as everything is now, it could get a lot worse. Way, way worse. Like people in this country, like we haven't seen like really what a civil war looks like or just total upheavals. There's many countries, many places in the world that they have. So it as bad as things are, yeah, you paying a little bit extra for those buffalo wings. Yeah, okay. You paying extra for gas, but it can still get worse. We still have gas. Hey, you know, it could get worse. But then somebody optimistic say, hey, those electric cars, hey, we need to use those. So, you know, it's like, hey, let me go on a tangent real quick. I'm starting to see some shit. Hey, just real quick. Look, I gotta go on a tangent or something. Whenever no matter what's happening, somebody else is doing something opposite. No matter what's happening. Like everybody's talking about gas prices rising and stuff. I'm quite sure like companies that are making electric cars, they're like, hey, we need to speed up production. I want y'all to think about that, okay? Just think about it. All right? So anyway, though, for all my optimistic brothers and sisters out here, and when I say brothers and sisters, I mean even those from different mothers and fathers. You know, all human brothers and sisters. Keep up your optimism. We need it. We need it, okay? You know, seriously, we need it because trust me, as bad as things are, for all the despair, it could get 1,000 times worse. All right? So anyway, that's all I have for today. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.